Hello everybody, it's Sport Federation TV time. Well, as you know, we're back. Keep talking about sport in the province, and we of course already have been taking a look at what's happening with lifesaving. We know that lifesaving is very prominent in the Western Cape. Back in studio with me, Jill Fortune and Eve Abrams from Western Cape Lifesaving. But in this case, we're speaking, am I right to say, Jill, we're speaking more about Fish Hoek today?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and Fish Hoek participated in the South African National Lifesaving Championships in Durban, and although the competition didn't conclude with all the events due to weather conditions and water conditions, but Fish Hoek still has the bragging rights. Unofficially,
Oh, really?
They won the competition.
So the inter-club championships, Eve, you let's just start off. You're training and you're a member of Fish Hoek Lifesaving.
Yes.
All right. And when there was the championships now in Durban, there was a Nippers championships and junior championships. Which division were you in?
So I compete in under 17 junior senior division.
Under 17 junior. And then is there a specific code or model that or do you participate in all the events?
So I mostly focus on the beach events. So that's like flags, sprints.
Yeah. Jill, and you were telling us that not just for Eve, it was multiple events, though, because you had the South African Championships in Durban, but at the same time, you had basically the Africa Games version of lifesaving, but that's where all the countries from Africa were participating.
Yes, and so we had you had Senegal, you had Egypt, you had Morocco, all present at the games with maybe one or two additional countries, and South Africa done exceptionally well. Also, very good representation from the Western Cape in those teams with fantastic results, and South Africa actually won that competition. And that was the 2 days prior to the Lifesaving South Africa DHL National Championships.
Right. So even a case like this, I mean, if we're going to talk about the SA champs and the interprovincials in a second, but you're actually competing for South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about that. I mean, that's a different thing altogether. It's a different league.
I mean, the president's team, it's very different to just going as a club.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's people from all over the country. So it's a nice experience to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Also, competing for my country, it's like, it means so much to me because like, I'm still so young and it's such a big thing to have accomplished. So
who would you say were the tough competitors that you were up against? Because Mom was saying now that you were up against Egypt and all that.
I think definitely my biggest competitors and the people that I was most nervous about were the Egyptians.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, they were so much older, first of all, and they have so much more experience than I do.
The Africa Games, was it still water and surf, or how was the structure there?
It was only the surf.
Just the surf?
Yeah, it was mainly focused on the surf, and it went across 2 days, so almost a test series across the 2 days. You got to showcase your talent, and there was no sort of categories of youth and senior and open. It was everybody combined into one age group. So you could have had a 15-year-old compete up against a 30-year-old in an event.
Really?
Yes, and it was amazing to see what type of talent we have from South Africa and also specifically the Western Cape.
So was the national championships before or after the?
So the national championships was straight after the ILS championships.
Straight after, okay. So were you not then maybe a little bit tired at the national championships?
I think a little bit, but I kept going because I think I was just excited. Like I was just going on adrenaline at that point.
So how much preparation do you have to do for this? Because I mean, I'm not talking about the months before, but like at the time, do you have to be thinking about you've got to have some food handy and you've got to have your cool drinks handy and sandwiches and?
Usually, I'm too busy on the beach to eat, but my mom always knows to pack in food because she knows that eventually I'll get hungry.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the inter-club championships then, or what you guys call the South African championships. This is when the clubs have an opportunity to compete. We just spoke to the Brewer family from Big Bay, who obviously also had a fantastic time there. But Fish Hoek was there competing at the South African Championships. The South African Championships are a little bit different to the interprovincials because now you're competing against your friends from the other clubs, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that, Eve. Is that then a bit strange because all your friends are part of the team?
Yeah, so I mean, like, if I'm competing at interprovincials and I'm competing with the province, then it's like I'm competing with them. I can work with them. But at interclubs, it's more now like I need to focus on myself. I need to learn how to, you know, protect myself and prosper by myself.
Yeah.
So it is weird, but I also like it like that.
So that's war, basically. Then it's a different time. So from a club point of view, Joel, tell us a little bit, how did Fish Hoek do? Because obviously there's some strong clubs in the Western Cape that we know have been very good over the years, but you're also coming up against some other national very strong clubs. But Big Bay, Clifton, Llandudno, Fish Hoek, False Bay, those are clubs that have had big names in South Africa.
Yeah, so I mean, lifesaving is a very multi-discipline sport. So you've got everything from the surf ski to the Malibu board to running and swimming. And if you think of it, lifesaving is primarily in the water. And that is where Fish Hoek actually excels. They excel in the water. Specifically, two of their premier events is the surf ski and the Malibu board. They've got the depth in the club. And at our Western Cape Champs, out of the 8 people that gets a point in the surf ski, 7 of them in the senior men were from Fish Hoek. So with the water conditions being so difficult, that event didn't happen. Yeah. So you found that most of the beach events was completed in full, which is not primarily Fish Hoek's strongest discipline. Yet still they came out with the bragging rights unofficially of winning the overall competition. Wow. And that speaks to the club as a whole, and that they actually are a multidisciplinary club. They have the depth in all the events, and that's absolutely amazing. So they had some individual wins on the beach and in the surf for the few events that did take place. And again, they dominated things like the Malibu board in the under-19 men. The first 3 positions all went to Fish Hoek. And again, I mean, that's fantastic results to show that the club is working really hard in all aspects of surf lifesaving.
What comes next for you guys now? Because now you've got the South African, or at least the Africa Games element out the way. You've just done the South African Champs. But I believe now it's time for the interprovincials.
Yes, so on our doorstep in about 3.5 weeks' time is going to be the interprovincial championships in Port Elizabeth on the 4th and 5th of May. But also many of the athletes are waiting and holding their breath for the announcement of the national team, which will represent South Africa at the Lifesaving World Championships in Australia in August and September of this year. So I think there's a lot happening. The athletes are not sitting back and relaxing. They're working super hard to prepare themselves for that announcement and to prepare themselves for both the interprovincials and world championships.
Yeah, yeah. So is that seniors and juniors for the world champs?
Yes, so there's a youth team. The youth team is 18 and under, and anybody 19 this year and over would be in the open team.
Okay, so Eve, you're hoping for the youth team?
Yes.
Yeah? When will you know?
We were hoping to know this week.
Yeah?
But I'm not sure.
All right, so there's a big announcement coming.
Yeah.
Are you a little bit nervous?
Yes.
Are you?
Very nervous.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to... so firstly, congratulations to Fish Hoek. I think that's the first thing we must say. Well done to Fish Hoek on an amazing performance at the SA Champs. Congratulations to you on your performance at the Africa Games.
Thank you.
Where, of course, you're part of the president's team. And yeah, we can't wait to see you guys back in studio. And yeah, good luck for the team selection.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There we go. There we go, folks. Western Cape Lifesaving, Fish Hoek Lifesaving, and Eve Abrams and Jill Fortin just doing an amazing job. And we'll just keep talking about lifesaving. Remember, those big events coming up. The next big one now in Port Elizabeth at the Interprovincials. And I'm sure they're going to be flying the flag for Western Cape high. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking sport in the province. Don't go away.